Britain's future, arguably, never looked so uncertain. British lawmakers are expected to vote on Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit deal tomorrow, that is Tuesday. Will her deal with the European Union find takers? That's a million-dollar question. The Prime Minister will address the Parliament. She fears that the planned exit from the European Union could be derailed. Theresa May, a little while ago, delivered a speech in the city of Stoke-on-Trent.
Nobody has yet come up with an alternative Brexit deal that is negotiable and that actually, nobody has come up with an alternative Brexit deal that is negotiable and that delivers on the result of the referendum. And that's what we must remember. This is not just about negotiating a deal, it's about negotiating a deal that delivers on the result of the referendum, taking back control of money, laws and borders, but also ensures that we do it in a way that maintains jobs, maintains security, protects jobs and security, and protects our union.
She said that it is likely that lawmakers would block Brexit altogether. She fears the chances of Brexit being blocked are higher than Britain leaving European Union without a deal.
Well, I'm working to ensure that we get members of Parliament voting for the deal tomorrow. I believe it is important that we deliver on this result, that we don't see a situation where there's a risk that Parliament tries to frustrate Brexit. I think over the last few days we've seen that risk increasing. I want to ensure that we deliver on the referendum, that we leave the European Union, and I want to do it on the basis of a good deal that protects people's jobs, protects our security and protects our union.
How will that affect Britain's economy? Will it survive this legislative shock? And what happens to the credibility of British politicians if they fail to honour the Brexit referendum? We'll of course be tracking all of this. For the moment, let's take you straight to Kevin Ozebek, Wion correspondent, joining us from Brussels. Kevin, good evening and thank you for joining us here. What options does the British Prime Minister Theresa May have if she loses the vote tomorrow, which she most likely will?
Well, that's a great question. What is her plan B going to be? Is she going to try to extend Article 50 and push Brexit down the road? Or is she going to ask Brussels if she can renegotiate this divorce deal? If she does that, it's going to be very interesting to hear what the response will be from Brussels. Also today, the European Commission sent out this letter signed by Commission President Donald Tusk, or European Council President Donald Tusk, I should say, and Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. This letter was designed to help give the UK more assurances and try to convince MPs to back that divorce deal that they are going to be voting on tomorrow evening. Now, in this letter, the EU says once again that when it comes to that backstop, the issue that so many MPs really have a lot of disdain for and why a lot of them aren't voting for the divorce deal, the EU stresses in this letter that that is to be used as an absolute last resort. And if that backstop ever does have to be enacted, it would just be a temporary solution. It would go away as soon as a trade deal would be negotiated and signed and completed. Is that going to convince more MPs that are against the deal to back this deal? Unlikely, because not in this letter are a lot of what those is what those MPs wanted, and that would be a firm end date for that backstop, as well as the ability for the UK to unilaterally get out of that backstop. None of that is in here.
Kevin, the opposition in the UK wants fresh elections. The Labour Party claims that they can get a better deal. Is there room for more negotiation?
Well, we've heard from EU leader after EU leader that they are not open to renegotiating the divorce deal. And this deal that they are going to be voting on tomorrow is the best deal that the EU could ever agree on. They've said over and over again that there will be no deal without that backstop. But if all is said and done, and if MPs vote down this divorce deal, if there is a vote of no confidence and Labour ends up controlling the government and we have a Prime Minister, Jeremy Corbyn, and if he demands there be a renegotiation, would Brussels listen? Maybe, possibly, because also on this side of the channel, there is not much appetite for a no-deal Brexit. That is viewed as the worst-case scenario. So if push came to shove, would they eventually be opening to renegotiating this divorce deal? Maybe, but the rhetoric again from Brussels is we are not opening to renegotiating this, and right now the UK has the best deal possible.
Interesting times. Kevin, thanks very much for joining us. The war within India's top investigating agency, the CBI, has made headlines for the past few months. Last week, When CBI Director Alok Verma was removed by the Select Committee, questions were raised on this decision. It was a three-member panel headed by the Prime Minister himself. He wanted Mr. Verma out. The man who helped in the ouster was Justice Sikri, a judge in the Supreme Court, the second senior-most judge in the country. The opposition has questioned Justice Sikri's motives. He retires next month. He is being offered a plum posting by the government. His critics call it reward for Mr. Verma's ouster. Justice Sikri has now refused to take the top job. He says the offer came more than a month ago and has nothing to do with the CBI chief's case. The government had recommended Justice Sikri's name for the Commonwealth Secretariat Arbitral Tribunal late last year. At that point, in fact, Justice Sikri had reportedly accepted it, but now he has decided to withdraw his consent. In a letter to the government, Justice Sikri said, and I quote, "I am at pain to note in some quarters my aforesaid nomination is being connected with certain developments which happened a couple of days ago, even though there is no correlation. Be that as it may, I do not want any such controversy to take place even when it is totally misconceived. I therefore withdraw my consent," he says. Justice Sikri is due to retire on the 6th of March. Meanwhile, a major development in another controversial case, the JNU sedition case of 2016. Nearly 3 years after it was registered, a charge sheet was filed against Kanhaiya Kumar, a former president of the Jawaharlal Nehru University Students' Union. The 1,200-page charge sheet also names former Students' Union General Secretary Sheila Rashid, CPI leader D. Raja's daughter Aparajita, Umar Khalid and others. They've all been charged of sedition, voluntarily causing hurt, forgery, rioting and criminal conspiracy, among other things. In 2016, these individuals allegedly raised anti-national slogans on the university campus. The first information report, or FIR, said that Kanhaiya Kumar was inciting this mob by allegedly shouting anti-India slogans. Also back in the news is the cow. A cause that was first taken up by the BJP, now espoused, it appears, by political outfits of all hues in India. The new Congress government in the state of Rajasthan has decided to honour those who adopt stray cows. They will reward citizens who work towards cow safety on the 26th of January, which is India's Republic Day, and the 15th of August, India's Independence Day. A state government-owned body responsible for the welfare of cows has offered all district collectors to motivate citizens, ordered all of them to motivate citizens to adopt stray cows. The Congress manifesto in Rajasthan promised to increase grants for cow shelters and better facilities for stray cows. The ruling Bharatiya Janata Party has often been criticized for tacitly supporting cow vigilantes with their aggressive stand on cow safety. It seems their critics have now joined the bandwagon, and part of the onus of winning the upcoming election in India now rests on the humble cow.